All right, welcome back to the Bottom Line KE. My name once again is Brian Amwai, and tonight we're having a conversation on the two-third gender rule question. It has been a question that has been, taking center stage in the country for quite a while now, ever since the 2010 constitution. But Mheshimiwa Biti Selachi tells me we go way back. It's not just 10 years. And a lot has been happening. Sometimes we say there's lack of quorum in the National Assembly. There's lack of political goodwill to actually get to see this implemented, so that we don't get to have this conversation again. But tonight we're having this conversation again because it has resurfaced, and this time round a report has been tabled in the National Assembly, and we do hope that at the end of it we are going to get this particular formula to achieve the two-third gender rule in the National Assembly and also in all elective posts in the country. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Selachi, for making time for this conversation tonight.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're sitting in your constituency, right?
Yes. It's a constituency with a lot of blessings. So you find one side things are going on very well. So I think I have many of you within Dagoretti North also. We are here
yes, within Dagoretti North. So anything, if you feel like things are not going right here, like Mheshimiwa, man, we need to act on something. Azimio to straightenisha vitu.
I can see that.
So let's get back to our conversation tonight here, and we are talking about the two-thirds gender rule. Right now, we have a report that has a different kind of formula that might see this implemented. But I want you to take me back to a little bit of a historical perspective on how did we get to this particular point? Because we've been talking about it for quite a long time, yet we never get to achieve it. What are we missing here?
Well, what we are missing is very simple. Political decision-making positions are very emotive, and it has always been a space of one gender, the male gender. So sometimes you'll find it's very tough competition. So for the many years, I remember from the time of Mama Fibia Sio to date, you can imagine how many years are those. I think we were still even young ourselves, and now we are here. We are still talking about it. But I'm hoping now, our hope at that time was that the new constitution that we have today would have solved the whole problem. And so when we promulgated the 2010 constitution, the principle was very clear on how we just need to achieve that one-third of either gender in not just in parliament, but in all political spheres and also economic spheres, which means everywhere you're employed, you just look at it. And that's why the judiciary right now is way ahead in terms of achieving. They've achieved and they've gone beyond achieving. But then having said that, I think what we have found ourselves in is something that we need to resolve now, because the whole of East Africa, everyone has resolved it. It's only Kenya that is talking about it. Even the countries that have been on war, they have resolved it. So for us, I think it is just political goodwill. You see, if today all political parties will decide and say that we can elect 63 or 68 women, then you don't need to even think of bringing in women. You'll have achieved.
Why is it so hard to get to that decision where political parties say, okay, now we want to achieve the two-third gender rule so that we don't have less women in the elective posts or in the National Assembly or even in the Senate? How is it hard to get there?
The hardness is just how political leadership is in the country. You see, parties like, for example, UDA, ODM, WIPA, these are big parties now, Ford Kenya. If they have agreed, because our political, how we play our politics in the country is very regional based, and it's very, very tribal based on our political parties. So if we say that, let me not say tribal because we cut across, and so let me use, we are just regional. And so if within that region we say, for example, you have 8 women or 9 being given an opportunity at the primary of every political party, and you need to now go through the primaries. You win the primaries, which I think His Excellency, the Prime Minister, really tried. Because when you look at what Baba did, Baba made sure all women who were in ODM and who already he had realized these are women who can win, who were given tickets directly. He was trying to just achieve that 1/3 without, because he knew if I take them through the normal nominations, shenanigans that we normally have, it will be so difficult for even these women to go through. We have to fight and do everything, even though we were strong, because we will still have gone through the mess, but we will still have won.
There's always an argument that women need to be taken through that particular process. It shouldn't be handed over to them. And I remember there was also an argument in terms of just the women representative position. They're like, why should it just be like that? It seems like it's being handed to them. They need to get into the field and battle it out with their counterparts. So,
you see, even when ODM was giving you that ticket, they did a lot of opinion polls to realize, are you strong? If you are given the ticket in the end, are you going to win? And anyway, some of us had gone through the same election in 2017. We competed. And so if you get 36,000 and you lose, it doesn't mean you're a bad loser. It means you're a very strong loser. And given an opportunity the way I was given, then you will win. And so for me, that is one thing. And so if all and also WIPA did the same. So that you realize most of the women in WIPA and ODM, the ones who were in parliament, all of them came back. I think it is only in KK where they were subjected to a nomination, which I'm hoping now we can resolve this matter once and for all. Now that we have the multi-sectoral report that we have been given by the CS and her team, Daisy and the team, we are hoping that we can sit in parliament and discuss this matter and come to an agreement based on the numbers the way we would wish, knowing very well there's high cost of living and all that. But even that, I don't want to go to the issue of high cost of living when we are talking about women issues, because it's only when Kenya wants to understand they are now in debt is when they remember, oh, women are about to get something. So that is when they bring in, oh, you know, there's high cost of living, there's debt. But
people say there are important things to talk about, that one can wait.
In fact, yes. So it's like a shelf thing. So, but I'm hoping with the goodwill of the president and the Prime Minister, we can see this move now.
And that was actually leading me to my next question in regards to what different environment and thing do we have this time round, so that we look at it and we say maybe this time round we can actually see light at the end of the tunnel. Well,
I think the different environment we have, or let me say the different strategy is, it is not a women's issue. You see, very soon men will be asking for the same. So even as we pass it, we are not passing it because of women. We are passing it because it is for either both of us, either male or female, can go through the same process. But then I want to appreciate the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, and minority leader Wandai, because they are the ones who will spearhead most of this, and then it will go to a committee, and the committee that is taking care of all these bills is the committee of JLAC. So the same way they have brought us the Elections Act is the same way I'm waiting to see all the 9 acts that have come through NADCO to be passed on the floor of the House, the same way. Yes.
Let's go back to why we failed in the past, and I know we've spoken about it quite a little bit, but why did we fail in the past in terms of getting to achieve this? Yes, we do have political goodwill. You will debate it in the House. What happened before when you say we didn't have quorum in the House and that's why it didn't get to pass? What if it recurs again?
Well, this time I don't think they would wish it to recur, because we have quite a number of constitutional amendment bills, and the 2/3 is one of them. So if you can pass all this, even the courts will wonder. They will wonder, how would you pass all this and this one fails now? So the good thing is that we have different bills, and we are saying these bills will come together so that when we are debating, we know. And when the time of voting comes, you will need you need 2/3 of that vote. The same day you are voting for that bill that needs 2/3, it is my wish and prayer all those bills will be there. So on that day, we shall vote for all those bills together and ensure that all of those constitutional bills, they go through. Okay. And so we cannot come and again start saying our male colleagues will walk out. And we are hoping they won't do that because it will be very unfortunate. If we are going to pass the CDF, we are going to pass GAF, we are going to pass the senators to be in elections after 7 years, why would this one not pass? So, we have an agreement though, because this was a bipartisan report, that it is important for us to work together and ensure. But the good thing is that on our side of Azimio, I think we are very clear that in the NADCO we are not going to play dirty games, we are not going to play monkey games, we are not going to play undercards. We are saying we've put all the cards on the table. Each bill will have the support of the Azimio side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me indulge you on the issues of some of the amendments that have been put in this particular report that we need to look at in debate and say, okay, this is a very good formula in terms of achieving this. Take me through the formula itself first, Mahesh, on how we plan to achieve now 2/3 gender rule in terms of equal representation in this particular new...
well, in the particular report for the multi-sectoral, what they are proposing is, first of all, you have an amendment in Article 98, but more importantly, carrying Article 77 of the Constitution, which is of the one that we normally use for the top-up of county assembly members. That's what they are proposing. So we use that to achieve, so that it's a smooth. I'll say when you read the Constitution, then you'll have achieved across board without bringing a lot of amendments. But there are those who are saying that's when you're saying the House is 348. But now when you say the numbers are at 290, which some are thinking that way, then now we reduce the numbers. You find yourself now nominating 21 members of women to come in. So it will depend. That's why I'm saying we will have to really work around and ensure. Maybe the men will push for that. But the most important thing, I've always said, there's everything on the table, and it's important for us. Constitutionally, I would go with what the multi-sectoral committee is proposing, and because it has gone round, and we have done public participation on it, stakeholders have worked on it. That would be the best model for us to go with it. But if it becomes now a place where, again, we are having a competition, and we will look at both, and then the men are able, somebody can bring in the amendment of 290 and say that 2/3 can be achieved in 290 than the way the Constitution is now. Then we'll have to go back and ask ourselves, fine, if you change that and get the numbers, then we shall use 290 to base ourselves in achieving the 2/3, meaning you'll go back to that number of 21 instead of the 55 they had proposed.
Let me just take a little bit of graphics here and look at representation as far as women are concerned in the country. Now, governors, right now as we speak, we do have the total number of governors in the country is 47, but women governors are 7. And this was a major thing, especially after elections, where it was celebratory because we had not achieved this before. Elected senators, there are 47, but women elected senators, we have 3. Members of in both houses, we have 318, and the National Assembly, it's 350. Now you're talking about 290, those are elected. And I do believe the rest are actually get to be nominated. In the Senate, we have 47, those are elected, but The rest are actually nominated to make the number 68. Let me talk about the issue of campaigns and just having women, especially this particular time when we had quite a number of, an increase when it comes to women representation in the country. Does that mean that maybe when it comes to looking at the direction or the trajectory that we are taking as a country, we have started accepting the representation of women and just giving that particular platform and saying now we do believe in the women leadership in the country? Does that mean we are on the right trajectory as far as this is concerned?
Oh yes, we are on the right trajectory, because when you look at the 7 governors and the performance they have put in place, then you will feel proud of devolution. Okay. Because when you look at what Her Excellency Anne Waiguru is doing, Her Excellency Gladys Wanga is doing, and the rest, and Achani in Kwale being the first Muslim woman, but having worked under Mvurya for 10 years and now being the governor, then you realize, yes, there is quite massive achievement, and not just achievement, but there's development that you can count, you can see, you can even touch and say, when the woman came in at this time in 2022, this is how the county was. Today we are talking of there's growth, there's revenue being collected. At least they can say we have local revenue, which it was very rare to get to know where is this local revenue. And so for me, when you find ourselves, you realize at the Senate is where last time we got 3 again today, this time 3. And we need to ask ourselves also, how do we help to get more senators? Okay. So that even as we speak of the National Assembly, we are speaking, knowing very well, in the National Assembly, if political parties will agree and the amendments of the political party that will come in, we want to see how we achieve this 2/3 now. But when you look at even us in the constituencies, when you evaluate us, you'll realize we have done our best as women in single constituencies. Yes, and we are more, because we know we shall be judged very harshly, we have to work more than any other person towards achieving what we need to achieve. Okay, so but for us, that's not unfair. I know it's not unfair, but that's how even citizens, that's how they judge you. Yeah. Yes, they will never say, oh, I mean, you'll find a constituency, a male colleague will just do a few things, and people will really hype and even say, but you are doing quite a number of things that you can see. But the good thing now, people see change. Okay. And I want to appreciate citizens are now looking. You realize when they see something good, they are talking about it. Just the same way in Homa Bay, they are talking about it. In Kirinyaga, they talk about it because they have really transformed. Okay, so yes. I'm running out of time, but I'd like just 2 more questions before we wind up on this conversation. And it has to do with the issue of public awareness. Do you believe that there's been enough public awareness in just telling Kenyans, by the way, it is important to achieve the 2/3 gender rule? That public awareness is what is really needed. You see, when we agreed that in our constitution we shall have civic education, it was to help Kenyans, not just to understand the issue of women or the issue of gender, but to more importantly believe in that whenever we have either a man or a woman elected, they are leaders and they will work for the benefit of their constituencies. Okay. Yes. All right. My final question will be, looking ahead, what are the prospects for achieving full compliance with the 2/3 gender rule in Kenya? Well, I think for me, this is the 13th Parliament must deliver this. We have no any other. We cannot go beyond this, because it will be very unfortunate that we are speaking, we are one, IALA is there. If IALA is compliant, why are we not compliant as a country? We say we are the biggest economy, all those words, but you are the worst in bringing both male and women, men and women to work together for the development of the country. So for me, it's not about even how do you achieve, it's about asking ourselves, are we ready to work together for the benefit of our country? Can we do it as one? Because when you're paying tax, we both pay tax.
Yeah.
There is no tax for women and men.
Okay.
It's a tax for a Kenyan who has a PIN number.
All right.
And that Kenyan is either a man or a woman. So for me, the most important thing is let us ensure we achieve this in this 13th Parliament.
Is it hard to fight for your space, especially as a female legislator in the National Assembly?
Oh yes, very hard, Brian. Very hard. Even just, you see, look at even how we speak in Parliament. And you know, without having conscience, and then they will say, you know, here, you'll start with seniority and all that. So you can find 7 men have spoken or 10 before a woman speaks. And it comes naturally, and they find it just naturally. So it depends, but you'll find, but there are those speakers. I will tell you, somebody like Farah, somebody like Kaluma, somebody like Martha Wangari, and our deputy speaker. They will always have that touch to know that, look, where are the women?
Okay.
Yes, and David. So they are trying their best to ensure that we come in, but it's not that easy. First of all, everyone just says it's a huge, we are too many in the house, so many things. But I always say you can balance, because we are too many, but not all of us are always in the house. Yeah, so you can still balance and ensure you have a balanced debate. But you listen to, when you get the Hansard, and you will see, now how do we debate? Do we have a gender lens eye on what we say? Are we bringing both men and women in that development agenda, or how do we speak? So it's very easy also when you go to the Hansard, you know this is a person who to him or her, that awareness of, do I have a gender lens, is not upon. Just the way you speak. So naturally you'll speak. Do you ever speak and realize that, oh, I need women, I need people with disability, I need boys and girls? Or you just speak and you get into your party issues. You know, there are some people, when they are speaking, either you want to impress the party, so you will forget that at this time on your Hansard, as it goes to the archives, may it be at one day somebody will pick and realize, yes, there was something I was speaking on. And that is one thing many people, naturally, as I say, they are not aware of it. So for us, sometimes we are triggered by that awareness that, look, I'm not just speaking for myself. I have millions of women out there. They are waiting to hear. There are millions of men. I need to balance and show we are talking of equity. We are not talking of equality. We are talking of equity.
Okay, thank you so much, Heshimiwa Elachi, for your time. We sadly, we are out of time here. I'd like to continue this conversation, but we are not. Our time is not on our side. I don't know. Do I have 30 seconds to ask? What's okay? All right, I'm supposed to.
30 seconds to ask whether we are celebrating International Women's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the week of International Women's Day.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So we welcome you at Lavington Girls. We shall be celebrating with them in the afternoon. And just to understand their stories, most of the girls come from our different informal areas, and they have a story to tell.
All right.
What they've gone through.
All right. We'll be listening to those stories on Friday as we celebrate International Women's Day. And just ahead of that, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right, my name is Brian Amwai. This has been The Bottom Line KE. Thank you so much for your time. Yes, I know Jeremy wants to kill me because of time, but yeah. So thank you so much. Good night, and let's do this again next time.